Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I totally just completely failed at pre-filming. You probably know that by looking at what I wear in my videos, but I pretty much pre-film everything because I have, a day job that has sometimes weird hours, takes up a lot of time, and so with the lighting situation, what it is in the winter, it's definitely important to pre-film for me. I did not this week, so the lighting might be a little wonky because it is nighttime while I'm filming this. And this has actually been an even more insane week for me because, or I guess 2 weeks, because for the last 2 weeks I've been on jury duty. And if you've never been on jury duty, it is its own just frustrating beast. You just never know whether you're going to get called or not, and so far of the available days for me to be called, I've been called every single one except one, which means that I have been away from work at least half day for the past 2 weeks, and it's making me a little batty. So if I seem a little crazy in this video, that would be why. I'm just putting that out there. And yeah, so crazy, weird, long intro aside, I'm doing a book tag video because that is all I have time to film and edit tonight. So yeah, I had a Twitter follower suggest that I do the bookshelf yearbook tag, and it looks fun, so I'm going to do that. I will have the original link down below. I obviously was not tagged in this video, it was just something someone suggested, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah, so let's get started. So the first one is Best Cover, and I've said this before, These Broken Stars by Megan Spooner and Amy Kaufman is just beautiful. I love everything about this. I'm a ginger, so ginger makes me happy, and then I don't know, I just like the color tones and everything on this and the typography. It's gorgeous, so this is definitely best book cover. Best Male Protagonist, I picked Edmond Dantes from The Count of Monte Cristo, and he's also the Count of Monte Cristo. Edmond Dantes is just his actual name. I love him. He is the most fascinating character. He's just so many levels to this character, and you see him sort of progress throughout the book from this naive, sailor who thinks his life is ahead of him to being imprisoned and thinking that his life is over and he's going to spend his whole life there, and then all the things that happen that sort of bring him to the kind of bitter and revengeful person that he becomes, and all of the insane stuff that he does. He's such a calculating character, but he also has such a great heart, so I don't know, he's just a fantastic character, and he's so multi-layered, and I just love him. Edmond Dantes is definitely the best male protagonist. So best female protagonist, I tried not to choose the obvious that so many other people have chosen in doing this tag, but I couldn't help it because seriously, who's better than Hermione Granger? She's just such a fantastic female character. She's strong, she's smart, she's sassy and witty, and yes, she has her flaws, but this book series would not be the same without Hermione. She definitely is the brains of the operation, and it was so refreshing to grow up reading about such a strong and amazing female role model. So for best villain, we're going straight back to Harry Potter. Not this one, I didn't bring the other ones in here, but we're definitely gonna have to go with Dolores Umbridge. I mean, she's obviously the most hated villain. It's funny because it's Voldemort is sort of the character that is the real bad guy of the entire series, and the whole thing is focused on defeating Voldemort. But Dolores Umbridge, if you ask any Harry Potter fan, is the character that every Harry Potter fan hates. It's yes, Voldemort was awful and terrible, but Dolores Umbridge was just the worst. Just absolutely the worst. So she definitely, hands down, will always win best villain in my opinion. For Cutest Couple, I went with a couple from the Pink Carnation series, and I can't remember which book they first become an actual couple in. I think it's the second one. I'll have to look it up and put the book in here. But I picked Henrietta and Miles Dorrington because they are the most adorable thing. They're just like that super in love, adorable couple that you can't help but be so happy for. And like the way that they actually get together, they've known each other their whole lives, and they were playmates as kids. And then they get together, and the way they get together is so like messy and real and just hilarious. And I love them. Even like throughout the books, you just keep seeing just how much they love each other, and it's so refreshing to see that. So for Coolest Fictional World, at first this is going to seem weird, but I will explain. I picked Ready Player One, but not like the world the book is set in, but the actual virtual world that the quest is set in. I just thought that it was so cool. And no, I wouldn't want to live in this dystopian society where you are basically living inside of a virtual reality, because that's scary and terrifying and honestly could probably happen in the real world. But I was still so fascinated with the world that was created inside of this game, this virtual reality, because it was so detailed, and there were so many cool things you could do, and you could build your own planet and have all these things on it, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I would love to do that. It'd be like my own personal Sims planet where I can do whatever I want, and it would be awesome, and there would be unicorns. For most interesting plot, I picked another kind of strange one. I definitely think that State of Wonder by Anne Patchett has a very interesting plot. It's not the most like page-turning, epic, crazy worlds created, twist and turns plot, but it's super interesting. It's basically, she finds out that her colleague has died, and so she goes to the African jungle to retrieve his body, because she promises his wife that she will. And it's sort of like about her journey there, and her journey finding the place where the research that was being done that her colleague was at, and what happens once she gets there, and the people that she's around. And I just think that Anne Patchett created this wonderful picture of what it must be like to go on a journey like that, to be in like the African jungle. And it was just, I don't know, I was in a state of wonder. I definitely felt awestruck by a lot of what was happening in this book, and sort of the twists that happen near the end of the book are heartbreaking, like so many of Anne Patchett's books are. And I really, really enjoyed the plot of this book. For Overhyped Book, I'm just going to say Maze Runner and move on. For most underhyped book, I'm going to pick an old one, and that is Ready Okay by Adam Cadre. I don't believe this book got a lot of hype when it was first published. I actually didn't find it until it was out of publication, and I was in high school when I found this book. It's definitely full of dark humor, and if you don't like bad language, coarse language, this is not the book for you. It is full of curse words and bad language. And if you have triggers for self-harm or suicide, this is also not the book for you. It is a dark, dark book, but it's hilarious. It has its moments, and it is full of one-liners, and I don't know, it was one of those books that I feel like defined a generation of reading for me. It was that book. This is the book I remember reading in high school. And it's basically, it follows a boy, he's a twin, and he is in high school, and the very first line of the book says, on his 16th birthday, he had no idea that within 4 months everybody that he cared about would be dead, and it was unburdened by that knowledge that he went down to the DMV to get his driver's license. And that pretty much sets the tone for the book. Like, it's dark, but just that sentence is sort of funny and witty in its own way. So it's definitely a very interesting book and worth the read. The book that's most likely to put you to sleep, that would be Wicked. Yeah. I tried to read Wicked, I think, 4 times, and I actually got about over halfway through the book, probably 60% through the book, And then I was finally just like, I can't even do it because I don't find that book interesting. It was so boring. And my fiance actually read it and really enjoyed it, but I told him he wasn't allowed to bring it back in the house because I just can't even look at that book without being just annoyed at it. Yeah. Most likely to get picked up at a bookstore, I would say Cinder. I think that this book has gotten a lot of hype, and I do think that it is somewhat warranted. And it's just one of those books that you see the cover and you think, what is that even about? Nice high heel with this robotic leg. And you get interested. And so I think a lot of people probably pick it up to see what it's about and then end up buying it because the story is fascinating. The synopsis on the back is intriguing. I definitely think this is one that a lot of people pick up at the bookstore. Book that's most likely to collect dust on the bookshelves, and I would have to say that is Lee Smith's Last Girls. And it always pains me to say that about a Hollins author, but this book is so boring. And it's one of those books that, like, you read the back of it and it sounds so interesting, but it's not. Like, the actual trip down the river was so much more interesting than the book she wrote about it. Yeah, it's not good. And it's not, the cover's not interesting. It's one of those things that just blends in on the shelves. So, yeah, I would say The Last Girls. Most likely to get reread. Need I say more? And the last one is the #1 greatest book of all time. And I couldn't just pick one, so I went with two. And the first one is Anne Patchett, The Bel Canto. And this is just a beautiful book. I don't even know, it's beautiful. And if you haven't read it, do yourself a favor and read it. It's about an opera house where they get taken over, and it's like a terrorist hostage situation. And it's about the things that happen in the opera house during this sort of hostage situation. And there's all these beautiful relationships that develop, and it's just written amazingly. And this is the book that made me fall in love with Anne Patchett's writing. And the second one is, of course, The Count of Monte Cristo. I love this book. I know it's gigantic, it's long, but if you're gonna read it, read the unabridged because every word is important. And I know that sounds crazy, but you would not believe the things that come back to be relevant in the end. It is incredible. And this is the book that made me fall in love with Alexandre Dumas. And I have read so many of his works since then, but this is still the one that I love more than any other. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and it is the original revenge story. So yeah, it's fantastic, and if you are all interested in reading it, pick it up. So that is it. That is the yearbook, bookshelf yearbook tag, something like that. I'm sure I have it right in the title. I probably need sleep, and that's probably what I'm gonna do right now. Okay, I will see you guys next time, hopefully with my entire brain, because jury duty ends this week. Thank the Lord. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.